Welcome to Hammerspace Recording. My name is Troy Neverbarn, and today we're going to have a look at the Two Notes Captor X Plus. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Today we're having a look at the Captor X Plus, which is this guy right here. I've had the original Captor X for a couple of years now. It's a box that I bought as a studio tool for when I wasn't able to mic up a cabinet in the studio, which does happen a lot. In the room that we're in at the moment, I have a couple of cabinets in the other room that are almost always permanently mic'd up. So if I'm doing overdubs or if I'm tracking guitars with a band and I've got a lot of time to focus on dialing guitar sounds, it's really easy to do. I could just send a guitar sound through my massive switching rack and I can have all the amps and all the cabinets that I like. That's not the situation I find myself in for every recording session. I have another studio that I work at downstairs, which is a much bigger studio, and it doesn't have ISO booths or anything like that. So when it comes to trying to track a band, like a full live band with a drummer and guitar players and bass players all in one area, to record guitars can be a little bit tricky. I have solutions for that, but I bought the original Captor X just to allow me to put that unit on the top of a head, go directly into it, go directly to Pro Tools, and then I can have everybody standing around in one situation playing together without having to worry about spill and bleed and all those sort of things. When the Captor X Plus was released, I was really curious to see what the feature differences would be between the two units, and I'm really happy to see that the new Captor X Plus has this new virtual load shaper in it, which more accurately emulates the way that a guitar head and a speaker cabinet interact with each other, which is maybe one of the last missing pieces of the puzzle to getting like really accurate digital recreations of guitar cabinets and whatnot. What we're going to do is we're going to load up the Two Notes software. I'm going to leave this guy on the desk. I'm going to play some guitar and look at the features, and we'll go from there. All right, here we have the Two Notes remote on the screen. I'm currently playing through my Charvel, which is one of my favorite guitars to rip, 80s rock licks on and rhythm guitar parts. I have the Captor X on the desk, and we're playing through my EVH 5153, the white one, the original one, 50 watt. And I just thought that'd be kind of a cool unit to chuck up. I haven't really played it on any videos yet, so, YOLO. First things first, on the unit, there are some really useful features that make it a really great studio tool. Let's just ignore the remote for a second, because if you're a tweaker and you're a nerd and you want to dial in the EQ and the effects and those sort of things, that's really cool. But for me, when I'm in a studio session, and particularly like I said in the intro, I really like using this, or the original box of this, in a live situation where I can just throw it on top of a head, get a guitar player to plug into it and record a part very quickly and very easily, so everyone's in the room together. So what this allows you to have is on the front 6 different presets of different cabinets, or just not just cabinets, but whole presets of how you would dial in the entire remote, the features in the remote. In the unit that I have my favorite cabinets just on, I only use 4 presets because it's just nice and quick and easy to go, do you like this one? Do you like this one? This one or that one? Make a decision quick and easy in the moment. So it allows you to do that from the front panel, meaning you don't have to load the remote up using Bluetooth or using a USB connection or anything like that. I'm plugging it in USB today because it's nice and easy to use. But again, in the heat of the moment, when you've got a million other things to do in a session, just having the ability to go click, 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 that's the sound I want. I really appreciate that. In addition, there's the space control on the front, which is just adds a bit of reverb in depending on how you've got that set up in the remote. The voicing control we'll have a look at as well. There is an option for that, a knob for that on the front of the unit, which you can adjust. The features on the back, which a little more difficult to turn around because I've got it all plugged in at the moment, so I might throw a picture up on the screen. If you do have a really loud amp and you just want to turn the volume down, you can do that through the back of the unit. This has got a stereo output on it, like a true stereo output. So within the Two Notes software, you can have output 1 and 2 be 2 different microphones or different effects. So let's move on for that. Let's have a look at the remote control. I have at the moment the stock preset loaded up, which is heavy dry. It sounds like this. I quite like the way that sounds. I've tweaked the effects a little bit. It's got a little bit of reverb on it. I'm not going to play with some of these settings too much today because I don't think it's something that I'll end up using that much going forward. So I'll just mention them really quick and we'll get it out of the way. There is independent EQ for each microphone depending on which one you select, so mic A or mic B. At the moment, you can see down here, we've got a mic A and a mic B, and so you can EQ those independently. The output effects, we've got the enhancer here. Obviously, you've got the control of that if you want to. The reverb here, I do think is quite useful once again, just to be able to put a little bit of space around whatever it is that you've pumped into the front of this. Like that's a very subtle like room reverb at the moment, but it's just that little bit of extra tail. The twin tracker is useful. If you want to make things sound big and wide, I'll just make it a little bit more conservative. We'll go up. It just spreads that signal out left and right really nice and easily. Again, in the studio, I'm more likely to double track guitars than use something like that, but just playing in your bedroom by yourself, a useful feature. That's the main effects side of this. And once again, I want to get that out of the way because I'm more interested in features like the virtual load shaper here and the virtual mics and all those sort of things. So let's talk about this, the virtual load shaper. Currently, I've got it in the custom mode. I'll flick that off and we'll just throw it onto the virtual load shaper that is the Captor X. So this is what the original Captor X sounded like when you would plug your amp. That's fine. That sounds like guitar. Let's flick over to one of the other virtual load shaper modes. There are about like 5 or 6 or 7 different impedance curves is what I'm assuming this is what virtual load shaper is referring to. So I'll go back to this one, which is bold. And in fact, I tried to recreate bold with the custom settings, which is why it was on before. Bold sounds like this. Let's go back to the flat one, which is the cap. Bold. Now you can see quite easily from the, clicked out of it, you can see quite easily from the diagram here, there is a really big bump here in the bottom end, and there's this subtle shift in the high end as well from, I believe it's somewhere like 3K or something like that. When we go to the flat one and none of that is on, sounds kind of flat and dull and boring. When we go to the bold mode, it gets a little thicker sounding, which again, it's what the curve suggests it would be. This sort of sound, like I've said this before in videos, if you've watched any of my other videos, I like just playing rhythm guitar and I get a lot out of, I understand a lot about an amp with how it reacts when I just play simple power chords like that sort of little chug, chug, chug. That responsiveness with that bold mode in virtual load shaper, that feels like an amp to me. Like that feels... If I go to the flat mode, those chugs, it's like it's not giving me anything back. It just feels kind of stiff and kind of, I mean, I don't want to say flat because it is a flat, it's a flat curve. Well, there's no curve, but it doesn't feel responsive. It doesn't feel like when I go chug, 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 I'm moving any air, I'm pushing any air. Pushing air is what you get when you crank a speaker up really loud, or like an amp up really loud. And it's like this emphasis in the bottom end that gives me that sensation. It's just like pushing low frequencies a little bit more. I tried to replicate this within the software. I was able to get like kind of maybe a little bit of the way there, but the other EQ sections in this plugin aren't as, you can't dial them in exactly the same way as you could with a full like parametric studio EQ. So I think this is still doing its own thing, and exactly where it's placed in the signal path, I think is really important to how it actually feels with the unit. Now, because the Captor X is Captor X and the Captor X Plus, the hardware inside of it, which I don't know exactly understand the the technical ins and outs. It's a reactive load, meaning it is supposed to feel more like an amp. It's supposed to have more of a curve to it. I believe this is dialed in to work more with what the specifications are of the hardware. So it's a pretty interactive thing. It's not like they've just thrown a random EQ curve in the plugin and, Bob's your auntie, you get the sound that you like. So yeah, whatever they've done, it feels really good. And I said, I like the bold mode. It's not a wholesale changing different tone. It makes it go from being oh, there's guitar to being oh, I'm playing an amp. Let's click through some of the others and hear what they sound like. So Reload 2. So you can see it's a slightly less bump there. The Reload 2 being their latest flagship, load box / power amp thing. Less extreme sounding, but still really comfortable. I think it just goes to show having that little bit extra emphasis in the low frequencies and how that makes it feel to play. It's just, that's kind of what's missing. We're chipping away more and more with these products from being kind of vaguely a guitar sound to being oh, it really feels like you're playing an amp now. That feels pretty cool. You can really feel that extra emphasis in the low end there. Interestingly, the peak is greater there. The Q value is a lot narrower, so I actually don't notice it in a chuggy way as much as I did some of the others. Bright's exactly what it sounds like. It's quite bright sounding. And then back to bold. Yeah, for me, bold and Reload 2 are the ones that I feel most comfortable with playing. So this is genuinely, this is worth price of admission for what I would use this box for. I've said I've had a lot of success using the normal Captor X, the original Captor X, but I'm always doing little things in a mixing sense to make it have this sort of feel to it. So I'm really happy to see that this has been included. I think that's a really, 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 really cool feature of this unit. Let's just quickly turn the gate on. There you go, it's a gate. Gates like a gate does. Over here in the miking side, you've got the option of different microphones for channel A and channel B. You can adjust the level of each one. You can adjust the axis, meaning how close or far away from the speaker it is, it's tilted, and also how far away distance it is from the speaker. So what I'll do is I'll just mute mic B. We'll turn up mic A a little bit just to compensate for the volume loss. So that's the Condenser 87. I'm a big fan of the Shure SM57, so that's what that one sounds like. We can just flick through a couple of these really quick. And obviously you can blend that with something that you might have in mic B. We'll just bypass that. So this is only the 160. Let's just go to the 121 because I do like that. Like I said a little bit earlier, with this specific setup, you have the ability to pan these mics left and right. So if you did want to make things sound a little bit wider, a bit more stereo, then you can hear at the moment I've got the Condenser 87 pan to the left. And the 160 pan to the right. So it can just give you a different character than if you were just to be panning everything straight up the guts. It's how I like to run it a lot of times when I'm working. But with this, if you did want to give your front of house mix one different mic sound, you want to set a different mix to your ears, super easy to do that. Or you can just send it to two places and mix it afterward. I'm really surprisingly happy with this sound. the boom, boom, boom. Like it's so satisfying to play. I've been playing this thing for probably like half an hour before I started recording this video, and it just felt like an amp. So I'm pretty stoked on that. Let's just look at the voicing really quick. I'm not 100% certain what this is doing in a technical sense. Like sonically, it feels like it goes from being like kind of scooped when you crank it to being a lot more mid-rangey when you pull it back down. There is that same button on my reload that I've had for like donkey's years as well. I think with that, I like having it straight up and down, and I prefer to tweak the tone using other features of this. Like I'd rather use the EQ, I'd rather change the mic position, I'd rather change the speaker cabinet, all those sort of things. But you know, you do whatever you want. Speaking of speaker cabinets, there are a bunch of speaker cabs within this, and you can see like there's a million different options. Like Two Notes has been doing this for a long time, so if you got a specific cabinet that you really want to like try out, it's worthwhile visiting their store and checking it out. I'm pretty traditional with a lot of things that I like to record. Like I have my favorite Vintage 30 cabinet that I've used on just about every project I've done for the last almost 20 years. So when I find a cabinet that I like, I typically stay with that, and I prefer to change like the head or the guitar or pedals or whatever it might be. But with this, I mean, you can really do whatever you want. You got so many options to change the tone. So yeah, this, I don't really know what this Kerosene? Is that how you say it? I don't really know what the cab is, but I like the sound of it. I think it's a pretty good one. Let's just load up something else to hear what it sounds like. I'll leave the... It sounds pretty good as well. Lots of options. Really like looking through this remote control. You could spend days just delving into each like little part of the module to find something that you like the sound of. I don't think it needs to take that long. And as I said, I was really happy with the sound of it with the default preset. So I'd probably be starting with that, and then, you know, maybe just tweaking things to taste. Or like I said, if I'm using this in a studio, I'll just leave that up and tweak the amp settings, because you can do that too. That's the unfortunate misery of being an engineer who likes playing guitar, is like there's a lot of variables to change depending on how you're feeling on a specific day. I won't get into the IR loaders and that sort of stuff up here, because some of that is a little bit limited in this guest mode. But if you do have your favorite impulse responses that you want to load up, then you can do it within this section here. So yeah, it's just a super cool, versatile unit. I'm like really impressed. So that's the Two Notes Captor X Plus. I think this unit is really awesome. I think that added feature of the virtual load shaper, I should keep looking at the plugin to remember what it's called, but I think that is one of the final pieces of the puzzle of making this feel really amp-like. It's, again, I spent a long time playing it today before I decided to shoot a video, just because I was having a lot of fun with it. And I wasn't even like tweaking everything. I just got an amp sound that I liked, and I started playing guitar, and I'm like, oh, this feels good. Oh, that feels good. Ultimately, I think a box like this, it should first and foremost be like pretty easy to use and obviously sound really good. And the fact that out of the box, you plug it in and you get something that is really usable, and then you can go to town to make it do whatever it is that you want. I think that's really, really awesome. So I actually have a session in a day or two, which I might actually just drag this out and use, and I might compare it in real time with my Captor X, just to see if there's one that I prefer over the other. But I have a feeling like that virtual load shaper is really going to do the thing that is going to just take those recordings to the next level. So I'm going to just say one more thank you to Two Notes for sending it to me. I really appreciate it. I'm very lucky to be able to try stuff like this, having the YouTube channel and everything. So thank you, Two Notes. And yeah, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel and you've enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to hear some other stuff that I've made with other programs and whatnot, go and check out my website, hammerspacerecording.com. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.